Yeah, 2 minutes. It is 7:30, Tuesday, January 21st, 2025. We now call to order the historic town of Eatonville regular council meeting. Mrs. King, would you please verify for?
Councilman Mack?
Here.
Councilwoman Randolph? Here. Councilman Daniels? Vice Mayor Washington?
Present.
Mayor Garvin?
Here.
And for the record, Mr. Presley is online today.
Okay, and also for the record, Pastor Critton will not be with us, so we'll have a moment of silence followed by the pledge of allegiance. The pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion? It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed. All right, the agenda has been approved. We now have a presentation, certification of appreciation. The police department.
Evening, Council, Mayor, and citizens of Eatonville. We're just ecstatic again. Our department is really maturing and growing in so many different ways. But we always like to acknowledge our partners and collaboration that we're building and continuing to work within the community itself. For the sake of curfew, we're gonna go with first two, since the children are under the age of, looks like 2. And they're getting past nap time. This is a particular appreciation. This Jacqueline Colangelo, she is the husband of Officer Zachary Colangelo. When I first came into the department and looked around the walls, it looked very bare, very, very bland. And I'm always about affirmations. So Ms. Tarver, our evidence coordinator, began to write down all the affirmations I was saying, and she began to put them on the wall in a tape format. So not knowing that Officer Colangelo and his wife would eventually be with us in our family, that's kind of what she does. And so she came and she has been making all of those silk screen on the wall. So I do advise any of our citizens or any of the council, please come by and see. There's the beautiful words that are up there that remind our people they're necessary and needed. So we want to show our appreciation tonight by giving you a thank you and support for providing customized letterings for the beautification of our office. We value your partnership with this town, Ms. Jacqueline Angela. Right here. She is also a school teacher in Seminole County, and she's doing an awesome elementary layout, like our mayor herself. So we thank you for your service. We also want to make sure that her husband didn't get jealous. So you get the same certificate of appreciation of what he's been doing. He's been doing a phenomenal job since he's been with us. He's excited, he's learning. He's welcoming to the town, and he's really just fitting in really, really quickly. So we want to also give this to Officer Zachary Colangelo. This last year, he was given a heroism award at down on I Drive. He was one of the officers involved in the shooting they had in Sanford, where 9 people got shot. He was one of the officers that actually got the suspect handcuffed and brought outside to Seminole County, and then went back inside. We had just done some tourniquet training here, and he used that tourniquet training immediately for a few victims there. So that just shows how important training is. No, working on that. So do you want to do a picture or step in?
I know it's that easy. I know.
God, don't be close enough.
I think you. Happy to be here.
Get a little closer. Maybe
Thank you.
Yes, you know, I was standing on the wall. So our next award goes to a great facility we've been working with, the Orlando Regional Realtor Association. Mr. Cliff is here tonight. His CEO or right-hand lady, Miss Amanda. I wanted to find a way to get training for our guys, but still be in the area where we need to be. His backyard is actually the backyard of the town of Eatonville, right over the backside of the lake there. That huge pretty building that another building seemed to have a similar color right down the street. We asked for just an opportunity to come and meet and talk and share some ideas with us. He's helped us in many ways. He's also allowed us to use his space for our training, state of the art. And their building, I think, is open for even those who wish to do any kind of event type setup. So it's a beautiful facility. So on behalf of the police department, we would like to thank you for support, providing all the space during training, not just for us, but also I've just been nominated the Vice President of the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives here in Orlando. We allowed us to have a meeting there. We also did our chiefs meeting with all the municipalities come together. So they've just been an awesome offset with. So we want to thank him and Miss Amanda.
Thank you.
Yeah, we got. So, of course, we have two of our favorite neighbors. We like to thank during Hurricane Milton. Police department worked 24 hours for real. We had multiple people here sleeping in the station and everything else. Once we hit 35-mile winds during Hurricane Milton, we had to stay inside, but we were here, all were here, to include myself. So Pump and Stuff actually fed us for a night or two without any second thoughts. They provided us with food and they continue to help us in anything that we need. So if you're representing tonight here, Pump and Stuff, may not have made it. But we thank them for their help and whatnot. Also, though, not just Hurricane Milton, but during Police Week, this great sponsor of Bagel King Wholesale Bakery made us some beautiful little navy blue police cookies, just to show their appreciation. I want to thank tonight great guy who's done. We met him one time, we just became friends immediately. So we want to say this Bakery King Wholesale Bakery, thank you for supporting us, providing food, not just to us, but also the town employees during Hurricane Milton. We value your partnership with the town. Thank you. Thank you again, Council Town and West Palm. Thank you all residents for continuing to believe in us. I think we're making major changes. I don't know, the parade just felt so different from my first year. It felt so welcoming and so blessed to be a part of this town. I continue to well, peaceful. Thank you again.
Thank you, Chief. Citizen participation is a thing.
Yes, we have several, and our first one will be Kelvin Franklin. Mr. Kelvin. You come to the podium.
First of all, good evening, Mayor, Council, citizens, and yes. My name is Kelvin Franklin. I reside at 133 Compton Avenue, City of Macon. And I'm here again as an ambassador as one of the ambassadors for the Eatonville Chamber of Commerce. Eatonville Chamber of Commerce has a community engagement opportunities for all skills levels. Contact us if you're interested in volunteering with us. On January 25th, we're scheduled to have a Women Change Makers panel discussion from 10 to 11:30. Please RSVP on Eventbrite if you're interested in audience participation for the upcoming discussion. That same day, January 25th, we're having an MLK Dinner Service Eatonville Community Cleanup with Representative Anna Escamante from 9 to 11. Contact us for sign-up details. The last one is February 15th. We're having our third annual Black History Speaks from 1 to 3 p.m. Eatonville Chamber is seeking spoken word artists, historians, and rhythm artists. To use their talents to educate, celebrate, embrace, and reinforce that Black History Speaks. Reach out if you're interested in showing off your talents. We look forward to partnering with you in the near future. Ms. Lavonder Wilder, President and CEO.
Thank you.
The next one is Ms. Joy Harvey.
Good evening, guys, citizens and guests. I've done some crazy things in my mind this night, so I'll get ready to do what I wanted to say. I want to start by quoting a Persian proverb that I heard. Many of you have probably heard that there are those who don't know. They don't know, they don't know.
Excuse me, could you turn the mic up so I could hear what she's saying?
Okay. There are those who don't know, and they don't know that they don't know. You should avoid them. There are those who don't know, and they know that they don't know. Teach them, embrace them. There are those who know, but they don't know that they know. Shape them and wake them, because this is not too laughing. Shape them because they know they don't know, and there are those who know and they know that they know. Follow it. Dr. King was one of those people. I am in a position where it is driving me absolutely insane to feel like the future of Eatonville is being mortgaged. I feel like there was a woman named Margaret Garner who was on a slave ship who threw her daughter into the ocean rather than have her grow up in slavery. She represents Eatonville to me. And that's where I feel like we are. I feel like our future is constantly being mortgaged by people who should not be in positions, like hiring an arsonist to be in charge of fire safety. So I'm gonna canvass the neighborhood, okay, independently. And I have. That's what this amount is, $5,000 in cash. Mr. President, excuse me, I curse and I gamble if you're listening. Canvass the neighborhood. And if the majority of the people canvassed, or the majority of the neighborhood, or the people who voted disagreed with the decision to put an arsonist, given the facts, in charge of fire safety, as opposed to if they agreed that the arsonist should be in charge of fire safety, anybody who takes a wager can keep this. You can keep it. But I'll bet you, and I don't throw money out of my butt, so this is like saved hard-earned money. I want anybody who has anything to do with this man being in the position he's in to resign if the citizens say, we disagree. It's driving me nuts.
Well, our next one is Daniel. Come on.
Offered staying until the end of this meeting.
Take it out.
Yeah, no.
Good afternoon, community of Eatonville. Good afternoon to everyone who is here that is not a part of the community. To the guests, I would like to share a poem that I wrote focusing on the melanated family to remind ourselves of what we are as we move forward with the reclaiming of this land from foreign colonizers and colonial forms of dictatorship that have sneaked into our borders. Another day, same distraction. It's dark against light, young against old. Division is destruction of souls, so don't divide yourself from your home. Your mother's your home, your father's your house, your brother's your walls, your sisters are your rooms. All of the space that you step into late, make it your home. Your house is not a place of dismay. These walls will keep you safe if you let them, but you gotta fill them with grace. Don't tear them down, my brothers. Don't tear them down, my sisters. Search to build, do not search to destroy. The land is our elders, the trees are the pride and our joy. My fruit is my wife, our seeds are the children we make. Their roots are my words. When I look at them, think, what will I say? Will I give them water, give them grace? Will my words bring them life? Give them foundation, because your nation is the family you build. The laws of the land is the Black parents' plan. So when we set out to heal, I speak to reveal the dark of night. So we know the purpose of day. Say, you are the dawn. You are the light. You are your Christ. You are your God. Olokun. You are Oshun. You are Ishel. Shango. You are Emaya. You are the tide, you are the moon, the sun, and the stars. You are a home, you are a throne. A king cannot build a kingdom alone. The king needs a queen, and the queen needs a king to protect her throne. The melanated family is God. The melanated family is life. The melanated family is whole. Thank you. But I would like to also address that a lot of our community suffers from PTSD. And when I say PTSD, I mean post-traumatic slave syndrome. We have left the shackles in the physical walls of the plantation, but we have still trapped our mind within the plantation. We are still trapped our economy within the plantation. We have still trapped our spirituality within the plantation. So when we act as if we don't know anything, it's not hard to wonder why. It's because we have still psychologically imprisoned ourselves in the confines of the master, whoever that master may be. The master has changed forms in 2025. The master now looks like real estate investors. The master now looks like political enforcers. The master now looks like bankings and economic systems that have been used to take away from us. I ask you all to look at the masters in our society and keep an eye open and know where you are and where you are coming from as you move forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have, Kaya James.
I would like to also pass on my time to Daniel again.
Do you have another speaker?
We do one after him.
It's not. It's a different speaker. I was saying, it's someone that's
We
gonna
have
give
total of 2,
minutes,
and one of them is, transferring their time to me.
or just one of the two, not the second person.
Okay,
The next
You have
person,
two people.
the next person is the one that deferred the time
Is
to
the
him.
next one gonna yield time as well?
Not that I'm aware
Okay,
of.
that's what I was asking, because that way we'll do it now, and you don't have to get up and come back. That's what I'm
Okay.
saying.
Yeah. All right. What I was saying about post-traumatic slave syndrome, a lot of us have left the plantation, or we think we have left the plantation physically, but we are in fact still there. When we do not know our identity as melanated beings, when we do not know family history and the generations that have went into cultivating Eatonville and making it the space that it is supposed to be, we are a lost people. We are a divided people. You cannot move forward tomorrow if you don't know where you stand today. And it's hard to know where you stand today if you don't know where you stand yesterday. If you don't know where your grandparents stand when they had to fight for this land. It wasn't easy for them to found the first legal Black town in the United States. A lot of sacrifice went into even cultivating Eatonville. And it's disgusting to see that a large percentage of Eatonville is owned by foreign investors. They have put a stake in our land. We cannot have a Black town if there are foreign investors putting stakes in our land, keeping us out of it. When you break down town, you got a T in the front, and then you have own in the latter part. If you don't have that T, that stake in what you're supposed to own, it can't be a Black town. It can't be yours. It is somebody else. It's like renting out the property on the sharecropping field. Yeah, we might be seeming to get some reward, but 90% of that is still going back to the mass at the end of the day. Constantly having to pay rent, light bills, for food that isn't actually helping you, for education that isn't actually teaching you who you are or where you're coming from. That's a plantation. There's nothing right about that. And until we see that everything that we are pouring in economically is coming back into us in the way that it should be, with actual melanated historical revolutionary education, with actual grocery stores and not dollar stores that are feeding us wealth through our health, then what are we doing? We throwing away resources, throwing away money, throwing away ourselves.
Thank you. Thank you.
thank you.
Our last one is Angela Thomas.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Eatonville. My complaint today, which it is a complaint, is about these pit bulls, these dogs that are not behind fences, that are not on leash, that are not with competent adults. I called the police several times. I know they tired of me calling them. But I've also spoke with Mr. Baruti about it. He said they don't have a leash law. I said, well, if they don't, then I did say it this way, common sense would tell you, you gotta follow Orange County leash law. So Orange County leash law, basically, I just pulled some of the things out. It just says that when the animals are out, they have to be with a competent adult. If there's no secure area for them, they still have to be on a leash, even if they're on private property, unless the owner gives them permission. So my suggestion would be, let's be proactive instead of reactive. We don't want an incident like this young man that got killed. The little child got killed in front of his parents by, these two dogs. So if Eatonville could be proactive, that we could some kind of way get a leash law. If not, let's at least follow Orange County leash law.
Thank you.
That was on it.
Thank you, everyone. We're now ready for the first reading of ordinance 2025-1, revisions to the land development. Yes, Sylvia.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, members of the board, and members of the community. My name is Tara Salmeri. I'm with Plan Active Studio, and I serve as the town planner for Eatonville. The ordinance 2025 is a request for revisions to chapter 64. It's in your packet, it's exhibit B, and then it's to review chapter 65, which is a new zoning ordinance.
You want to click, or would you like? Yeah. You just.
So the purpose of updating the town's zoning district uses is to provide a consolidated use table that includes a comprehensive list of uses for the town, so that additional business, retail, offices, and residential uses are listed to ensure the town provides a range of uses to encourage redevelopment, infill with respect to existing uses in the town. So in May of 2024, we had a workshop with the planning board, brought up a draft of a consolidated use table for the planning board to review. The planning board had many items to discuss, and then June 13th, I brought back another version of the consolidated use table. And then July 16th, we had a city commission workshop that wasn't as well attended. So if you'd like, Mayor, I can go through kind of the overview of what the actual ordinance is. So this is the first reading. So if there's any other items that you want to add, remove, or discuss, we can do that tonight too. This is when it's dangerous that I get control. Okay. So before we talk about the new organization, I just wanted to outline how your zoning districts are today. So when you go into your land development code, every single zoning district has a purpose and intent item, and then there are permitted uses and accessory uses. The tables in all the listing in your zoning districts, it's usually about 6 or 7 uses. So a lot of times when planning is getting inquiries on the phone on what is permitted and not permitted, the uses are just not very expansive. So and then you're also thumbing through every zoning district to find out, you know, where a particular use is permitted. So that's how your zoning districts are today. In your packet, and this is a super busy table, but I'm going to walk you through. The goal is to have a consolidated use table that is user-friendly and easy to go through. So it has a lot of information, but it also is kind of a one-stop shop. So when you pull up the uses, you'll see, and I'll just kind of walk you through the guide is that you have P for permitted uses, SE for special exceptions. Then special exceptions have to meet certain criteria. If there is no criteria, they still go before the planning board with a recommendation and then off to council. So that's a special exception. There's blank cells, which that usually means prohibited. But you do have one zoning district, your high density mixed use office, that states whether uses are permitted or not permitted. So NP is on there. I apologize for downtown overlay. So in the use table, you'll have a use classification. So this example is residential. That's where the orange is. There are use categories, which that would mean that's a household living use. And then there's a use type, which it'll drill down further. In the new chapter 64, there are definitions. So currently today in your zoning districts, there's no definitions on your uses. So any use classification is defined. So that's where you'll see kind of that. So there are three categorizations of uses. One is principal, which would mean, if you had a commercial use, it would list what commercial uses are allowed. Then accessory would be that it's not the larger use that's on the piece of land. So you could have a garage as an accessory, that'd be an example. And then temporary uses, typically there's not a whole lot of those, and you have this one temporary use. So I wanted to go over, not in detail, what the actual use table is. I want to highlight some of the new uses that I knew that the commission would really want to look at. And then just to understand what is being recommended. So in your regular principal use table, there was an addition of microbreweries and distilleries. Right now you have liquor and lounge stores that are permitted. So there's a lot of, and you've seen it in your night markets, you have some microbrewers coming now. And they do smaller batch, and they can actually be entrepreneurs that are a little bit more friendly for smaller business. So we drafted some criteria that it has to be part of an eating and drinking establishment. Only a certain percentage can be that actual brewery. And a lot of jurisdictions require transparency so that if you walk by, you can see the distillery. It's kind of a nice way for them to advertise too, so you can look in and see what they're doing. Now the offsite distribution is permitted. That would mean that if they were selling, if you had somebody that came in and wanted to be a microbrewer, then they could actually sell it to restaurants or other stores, and they could come and pick up. So that's one of the kind of the newer criteria. In industrial, and that criteria, that use is in your commercial district. In industrial district, in addition of boat sales, service, rental, or repair, there have been a lot of inquiries in town on uses in your industrial. There's been a little bit of a struggle because of the state having a live local, which says that any commercial or industrial land now can go into affordable apartments and housing. So there's been some inquiries as well in your industrial uses for apartments. And there's also been some interest to have auto sales, which the code has been clear about auto sales. And now there is an opportunity to have boat sales that are a little bit more high end. I created a lot of criteria on how that sales and how the display and how the operations could be. So that's part of the addition. Automobile dealership vehicle sales. I think we even dealt with this last year when we were talking about auto sales. You had criteria for your auto dealerships that prohibited new car sales, but it was okay for used car. So when we workshopped it, in the planning board, no one could really justify why you would encourage used car sales and not new. So the recommendation has been to remove the used car so that you're treating both. The accessory uses permitted with criteria. There is in the state, they've also allowed in legislation for anybody that owns a single family home to have, some people call them granny flats, some call them accessory dwelling units, some just call it a detached living unit. The regulation and the definition is an accessory dwelling unit. So I've added provisions that allow every single family zoning district in R1 and R2 to be able to have an accessory dwelling unit that will allow, and it's only one per single family home. Some of the things that we workshopped were, what that would mean. So, for example, if you had a house that was 1,000 square feet, you could have, a mother-in-law or grandmother suite at 500. So only 50% of the size, because the reason for that is a lot of jurisdictions have not put that limit on, and then the small resident home became the unit, and then they built a really large home on their accessories, so it's good to have a cap. There's just minimal design criteria, which just means that it should look like the house that you're building next to. The height, this is something that you as decision makers can decide. The recommendation was to not be higher than the residence. I've seen it in multiple ways in jurisdictions. You can allow, most of your zoning districts in R1 and R2 allow 2 stories. What this is saying is your accessory dwelling can only be 1 if the primary residence is 1. It can be 2, but a lot of smaller communities, I just did this with St. Cloud, and they really wanted to make sure that it was still consistent with the home. So that's where the standard is as well. Occupancy is homestead, so someone has to live there instead of it having it as a short-term rental. So not like an Airbnb style that somebody can come and rent, unless that's privy of the board. If you would like to do that. Impact fees, they right now, as it's written, is that they are waived if it's affordable. If you're using it for family, or if you're using it as an affordable rent, then you would not have to pay an impact fee for that. If you are not doing that, then an impact fee would apply. So it's really to help with multi-generational living and not incur any additional costs. The addressing is usually police and fire, and utilities want a separate address so that they know there's another residence coming in. That way, if something happens, they know that there's another unit on the premise, so that they can take care of any in an emergency that happens. You can have the option to require your own utility meter or not. And I don't think that I added the requirement because it becomes an additional cost, but if that's something that you all want to do, we can add that. And then non-conforming structures and lots are also permitted to have an accessory dwelling unit. You have a lot of small homes here that don't meet your current code, but instead of prohibiting them from being able to also do that, we're allowing that. And then the last is just it needs to comply with Florida Building Code, which any residence should. Food dispensing vehicles or food trucks. You did have an ordinance that allowed food trucks in one portion of town. Now the recommendation is for all of your non-residential zoning districts. There's a definition of what a food truck is. You're required to have a state and town license. The operation is 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. No more than 2 times a week per site. So unless you want a food truck stationary, we can add additional days. But typically, I looked at and spoke with the city of Orlando, and they were having some issues when they were allowing them full time. So that's really up to the board as well, like what you would like. I think it's a good start. And if you're seeing issues you want to increase or decrease, you can do that. But that's just a recommendation. If it becomes permanent, it requires approval. There's just setbacks from the road, 5 feet. So, for example, if the night market is going on and the adjacent to, this commercial property, you could have food trucks going on there too. So that would incentivize small business to come as well. And then there's no amplified music, and then there's proper disposal of trash. Those are just lessons learned from Orlando because they didn't have that in their ordinance and had to go back in. Home office. Currently in your land development code, anybody that operates a home office is considered having to go through a special exception. So that this is an old way how all jurisdictions used to regulate home offices. So I've made the recommendation and the planning board confirmed that, we no longer have it as a special exception, it's just permitted by right. Because most people are working out of their home, it's not about, selling goods and services. There's no commercial vehicles, there's no generation of traffic, that's what the definition of a home office is, so I've done that as well.
Question.
Yes.
So if we have a home, residential home in a commercial code or district, we now can allow them, if they wanted to do a home business, where they're not allowed to?
They could, but are you maybe referencing a specific piece of land? Okay, I'm glad that you did. So that's something else that I put in, the ordinance that I want to highlight. So thank you. Thank you for. So, as,
What? I have a
Wait,
question.
one moment.
Yeah.
We're gonna let this presentation happen and then it will be open to public comment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So. Thank you for reminding me of that. So we have been, there are some situations in an overlay that, it's HDMX office that, basically they're existing homes that now can no longer be homes, but they don't have, land to really do much other than have the house that they have. I have, made a recommendation for that specific scenario that, it says a single family resident, and if you wanted to look at it, it's on page 29 of my document, but 32 of your packet. And it's a single family residential home constructed prior to 2017 shall, be that is permitted to continue as a single family home use. So to me, it just kind of made sense that, these are homes and if someone wants to live there, so that was the recommendation. So I appreciate you bringing that up. But yes, they could actually do that, but I think the intent is, especially for the property that you're talking about, is to live there. And so that's what I've put in as a recommendation is that if the home structure is there and there is somebody that has already updated it and ready, then why wouldn't you allow them to live there?
When you say updated, what do you just?
Well, I think, and that's not a criteria. I mean,
Okay.
literally, if it's a residential home, it's a single family home prior to 2017,
Yes.
meaning that it's been constructed before 2017, it's able to operate as a home. So,
Gonna be very
It's
happy to hear
taken
that.
3 years.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Great,
yes,
thank you.
well, I want to make sure you were all in support of that. We did have the workshop, and then once we're in second reading, we can share or you can share the good news, whoever wants to, they'll be very happy, I'm sure. Makes sense, right? Yeah, thank you for that, that was a good question. I almost forgot to mention that, so. The temporary uses, mobile homes to, house business activities. This is a standard that you already have. So I just wanted to, share with you that, this used to be kind of the standard that was floating somewhere, so I just put it in a table. And I just transferred the criteria. So with that, if you were to look at the use table that's in the packet, it does, there's one other thing that I wanna share in the, oops, sorry. Take this here. Um, okay, and on the table itself, okay, here we go. You see on the far right, it says use specific standards. In your packet, you will see on a table, sometimes you'll see a reference to a section. If there's a reference to anything on that table, then there's a standard that goes with it, and those were the standards I was outlining. I also brought all the standards that you used to have. So I didn't change any of the criteria or standards that you had. I just added more up-to-date uses. And with that, happy to answer any questions.
All right, we're gonna go to, that for, you do the family first? Or do you go to public?
We can do, the public.
All right. All right, so you have
When you
heard,
make your motion, when you make your motion.
so you've heard the presentation. This item is now open for public hearing. So if you would like to speak on this subject, you don't have to have a paper filled out. You can come to the lectern.
I have a question.
You can come to the lectern. And just,
I speak loud enough for you.
you don't have to go to the lectern.
Go there.
Thank you.
My question is, has Eatonville already been rezoned? What's the name, ma'am? Marion Hunt. Has it already been rezoned? For all of this? Who's answering?
So I guess one of the things that's happening now is that we are fixing our zoning. So it's always had zoning. And what we're doing now is organizing it. So would you like to say it in? Thank you.
This is not a rezoning of land. It is a use table that identifies permitted uses that already, for the most part exist, but the ones that I highlighted are new. But I would recommend that you, look at the use table because it's a couple of pages and you can look at uses.
I have to get that off. Right? Okay.
You can contact me as the clerk and I can assist you with that.
Well, the reason I'm asking is because
They need to
I'm
record it.
concerned with my home. I'm 90, and maybe some of you will be here when I'm gone. But I want to tell you that I'm very interested in Eatonville. I have always been. But I'm interested as a Black person for the Black community. There's a lot of new things coming out, but if you look at Orlando, they open up everything downtown, and they've got a bunch of restaurants, bars, and the such. Now they're trying to redo it. I think we should do it right the first time, because they're having a hard time taking their downtown back. That's all I want to say.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to this item? Ms. Marie?
Yeah, see one thing. I really want to ask a question, but I saw something up there. Is when you was talking about the home office.
Say your name and
McCall, Mr. McCall.
What was that?
I got it.
It was about the your home office that you were talking about. People. Yeah, we did. On that right there now, these residents here in Eatonville, they already got their houses on lands already, so you can't grow the land. But then you say the home office, is this talking about grandfathered in or something? Or what? Because another thing, then you got the, commercial vehicles, is that on your land? If you already staying in one house, you have to go and rent, now you have to go rent a commercial building to try to start your business or something? Well, that's what I don't understand, because you got on there, no commercial vehicles. So where's that at when you've been in business for 20, 30 years? And you don't have no more property, you got the house on your property, you've been parked in that yard for a while, and now you say commercial building. Is that mobile? Or is that if you have an office in your house?
Office in your house.
Oh, okay, that answers my question. Okay.
Yes, that's a office. Yeah, that's only if you're operating an office. For example, I have a home-based business. That would, there are some jurisdictions, I mean, if I lived here, I wouldn't be able, I would have to go through a special exception to operate my home office that has nobody coming. It's just me actually making a living and having an office in my home. So you're not changing your house, you're not adding an office, it's really operating your business in your home.
Okay, well, since you said that, if it's something that's already been going on, what do you mean, now you have to have a permit?
No, before you would have to have special permission and now it's just you're gonna get permitted. So before you had conditions, now you will not.
No, we didn't have conditions,
You
you
do.
just weren't.
Well, you do have conditions, they might not have been enforced, but
Well, we probably didn't have, what they always have, those conditions in Eatonville.
So because you didn't change anything.
No, Mayor, I
Nothing
did
changed, so
not.
it was
Yeah,
what was there.
that's what exists.
But all that's up there now?
Yes.
Oh, well, where's that paper at?
It's in chapter 64 in the land development.
What year was it wrote?
Offhand, I'm not sure. Pull that.
So it's been a while.
Yes,
Yeah.
maybe 80s or 2000.
Yeah.
I mean,
It wasn't enforced.
Alright, so good.
No, it's not, okay,
Alright,
all right, thank you.
thank you.
the only other item to address on having a home and being concerned, the zoning categories are not adding additional uses outside of residential to the residential area. So the residential areas will remain residential. How they are today.
Good evening, I'm Ruth Critton, Eaton Street. My question is in regards to the ADUs. Specifically the design criteria and the height. So as I understood it, as it was presented, if you own a one-story house and you want to add a mother-in-law suite, it can only be one story. And I'm assuming that design consistent to the home would mean layout, or when you say design consistent to the home, can you tell me what you mean by that?
Look like your house.
Yes.
Your L shape,
So
another L shape.
no, it's really just if your home it's just to look like the outside of your house.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
The
The aesthetic.
okay.
No layout has to be the same. It's just so that it's complementary to what your primary dwelling looks like.
Understood. And then that was my question. My comment, I guess, would be to council. As a homeowner who very much like Mr. McCall said, you can grow you can build more house, but you can't build more Eatonville. Right, considering that we have growing families and potential aspirations, I would ask that you be a little lenient in that. That's just on Eaton Street. But considering that prior to this presentation, me and some other constituents in the community have discussed, updating our dwellings and adding on. You might have the land for it. It might be more conducive to build a two-story add-on than it would be to add on directly to the house or something of that nature, like a detached dwelling that might be, right, if you got kids, 2 stories might be beneficial on the backside of the house. I don't have 6 kids, I'm just saying, I would hope that you would consider that when making a decision. Because if not, they can come to, no, 3rd grade hall, no. Thank you.
Is there would anyone else like to speak to this?
It's not a spoke.
All right, we'll take the final.
It's a question. Please don't make me walk up there.
United.
What
You have to come to the podium.
You can dance up there. You have to walk.
detrimental to my saying it. Changing things. I saw a zoning map. I'd like to see that. Is that something that I can, this is something we. No. Something that I think.
Yes.
I know they have it.
That's okay.
The request is just have a copy of the zoning map.
So if you send, and give your, do you have an email address? If you
Huh?
provide your email address,
So what?
if you provide your email address, then is that something we can send her electronically, right?
Do you want this electronic or would you like a hard copy printed out for you? Would you like it printed out or an
Yeah, I'd
email?
love it. I'd love it printed out. You have it.
So
If you
I don't
it
have it
available.
now, but we could have it ready for you tomorrow if you wanted to come
Okay.
pick it up.
All right. Okay.
All right. If there are no more comments, we're now closing the public comment section of this item. Now I'm gonna go forward. Before we have our discussion, then we are going to go ahead and do the motion.
Okay.
That's the motion. Is there a motion for ordinance 2020, first reading of ordinance 2025-1, revisions to the land development code?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded.
Question.
Let's hear the, I'm sorry, not with the second, we should hear the preamble. Then we'll say.
Ordinance number 2025-1, an ordinance of the town council of the town of Eatonville, Florida, amending the land development code by consolidating zoning and use regulations into a consolidated use table, repealing certain provisions relating to permitted uses, accessory uses, special exception uses, and prohibited uses in chapter 64, article 3, zoning district regulations, creating chapter 65, use regulations, providing for codification, conflict, severability, and an effective date.
All right, so it has been moved and seconded. Now we're open for questions. Councilwoman.
Yes, good afternoon. I have a question about mobile home. Since housing seems to be a big problem nationwide, I am beginning to see more these type homes in residential neighborhoods. So what does it, now is this a code violation or what type of violation? What's the process for mobile homes on residential property? Because this is occurring in Eatonville.
I don't have that answer readily available. I can look it up if you have additional questions.
Okay, because I do see mobile homes on properties. I know there's a problem with space here in the town, it's for land use. I think there's something that we need to consider, and also I was looking in the charts under all of the zoning categories for land use, but you had swimming pools that was crossed out down here, was struck out. Is there a reason why?
Yeah, any of the strikeout is just moving from that particular chapter and going into the new chapter, so it should be in the chart under accessory uses now.
Under accessories, right? Okay. Leave this I have just those two items.
Are there any other questions? Yes, Vice Mayor.
I have a question for you. Conforming use, when the property is not conforming use for 6 months, what we do about that?
There have been no recommendations to change that part of your code.
So that's not being changed.
Correct.
Usage for 6 months, it stays.
If it's not conforming. And some of the things that we noticed about a year ago when that particular section of the code was being enacted, is, if a use goes, vacant for 6 months or more, you have to have proof of that, vacancy. So you either have to pull a meter or instead of someone knowing no one's lived there, that can't be the reason that the use is no longer permitted. It actually has to be documented. But yes, that's still part, of your land development code. Unless you want to change it.
I want to go back to mobile homes. So we have
Yes.
a mobile home ordinance here. I
That I'm
haven't been
not
able to
sure
find
of.
one.
I can absolutely look at that right now. I'm not seeing a provision for mobile homes at all. But I'm, again, trying to look at this. But I can absolutely take a look at it and have the answer to you in second reading.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, any other questions? All right, so there's no questions. It's been moved and seconded for the first reading. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. All right. Since there's no one opposing, we have now approved the first reading of ordinance 2025-1.
That's one.
Thank you, Ms. O'Mary. Now moving on to the consent agenda. But to clarify for the approval of the town council meeting minutes, I want to make certain that you know that it's for December 3rd and 17th of 2024, as well as January 7th of 2025. So with that being said, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed. And then finally, council decision, mutual release with Up Development Company LLC and the town of Eatonville.
Thank you, Mayor. So what you have before you is a mutual release regarding a lawsuit with Up Development in the town. Up Development has sued the town for a breach of contract for an agreement that was dated quite a while ago. There's been several amendments to that agreement. Ultimately, what occurred was there's $200,000 that was deposited by Up Development, essentially to the town. So that $200,000 has been sitting there. Up Development has sued the town for breach of contract, alleging an amount to be around $2 million damages. And what this mutual release is the product of is Mr. Shepherd and Up Development going back and forth and determining a number that would be mutually beneficial to both parties and an amount that would result in the settlement of this case. That amount is $100,000. So from the $200,000 that the town has had in the trust fund or in the fund, $100,000 of that would be paid to Up Development. That would cease all litigation in this. It would cut off any attorney's fees and costs, and each party would be responsible for that. One of the big issues in this case is that this is not a case that would be handled by the insurance defense. So any attorney's fees from the litigation would be directly coming out of the town's funds. And what this agreement would do would be to shut that off, limit any exposure the town can have to that $2 million claim, and result in the dismissal of litigation.
Right, so you've heard it. Is there a motion to for the mutual release with Up Development Company LLC in the town of Eatonville?
Second with questions.
Right, so it's been a motion second.
Yes, if I may, I know this thing kind of been processing for a while. And just off of my opinion, I think it would be in the best interest of the town. And I'm only one vote to move forward with the proposed to us, because I think at the end of the day, it will cost us a lot more money if we do decide not to approve what has been proposed to us. So I just wanted to make that recommendation. And like I said, I'm only one vote. And I think for the best interest of the town, the taxpayers, and the community, that we go about doing, because it's a win-win at the end of the day, because it's only $100,000. Because you got to remember, we was given $200,000. that was non-refundable, but I, understand all the logistics and everything that had taken place with this particular lawsuit, and I don't want to get too more in detail. I know we wanted to have a original 186 on this, but we're here now, and based on my opinion and everything and all the summaries that I've seen, I think it'd be in our best interest to move forward doing whatever the attorney spoke about.
Yeah, Councilwoman.
Oh, yes, okay. First of all, I don't have the full understanding about what this is all about. I know it was discussed about a year and a half ago about this issue. So it's come up again now. One of the things that I'm looking at in this proposal here is, first of all, it says that the funds would come from the general fund, the general reserve amount. I don't even know exactly what's the amount in the general fund, so we're saying that's where the funds are gonna come from. I don't have a listing as to how much money is in that account. Also, and it says, and I guess maybe another portion of it is gonna go to legal services. Okay, that's number one. That has not been identified here in this case. The other one is that there's has been no budget resolution. So if we're gonna transfer money from one account to another, we need to have a budget resolution for that, and that's not here either. I'm looking on a report that was just given to me, when I had called today. I wanted to see exactly that line item. I don't see it. I don't know exactly where it's located here. But to me, for me to make a decision about this right now, I think this is not enough information that I need in order for me to efficiently make a decision. This really should have been a 286 meeting with the town council, so we can better understand before we even got to this point, so that way we can better understand rather than going through this now without enough information. So that's my position. Thank you.
If I may, go ahead.
Myself in good conscience can't. It's $100,000. We have to be stewards of every dime that we have there in this municipality. And $100,000 is a lot of money, but we have pipes broken, salaries, we got officers that need salaries. We just can't willy-nilly just give away $100,000 because a development feels like they put $200,000 to try to get the property. Did a bid, I don't know if anyone knows the story, did a bid that outbid everyone, and we said, great, you got it. Then they said, that's kind of too much. Can we bring it down to here? And we said, okay, let's bring it down. Then they said again, can we bring it down to here? And we did again. Then they themselves didn't want to do it or whatever happened. We don't own it. It was the school boards anyway. It was for their decision anyway. So my questions would be, what did the mayor do? See, that's why I wanted to get behind closed doors to find out what was the breach of contract? What happened? What was the counter? They won 100. Did we do a counter? Say give us 50, and then we call it quits. That's why I wanted to go behind closed doors to discuss this matter, to figure out what happened, because I don't know. It didn't say you in the email. So people can know the previous administration.
Yeah.
Let me say this previous administration. It's 100, not this mayor, the previous, and I want to know what that mayor did. For me to get this okay for $100,000 that we just can get, I want to know every dime or everything that happened wrong. So maybe we don't repeat it. So we can figure out, okay, our fault, can we do 50? You accept this, because I'm the type of person, if I get 200, why am I selling? And if I get 2 million, why am I selling for 200? And I understand how people hate bad press and they just settle. I've never been in that situation to settle. I hate when my town settles, especially when we have them dead to right to say that we are valid in what we're saying and we can win this. But a lot of times our insurance company won't do it because they don't want to go to court, pay legal fees. So they just kind of give it out. I hate that. I'd rather go to court. Let's win. But our insurance company don't do that. But in this particular situation, attorney, I want the insights before I vote on this or give my approval on this. What happened? What did the mayor do to breach a contract? That's not even this contract, it was Orange County. So what did Orange County do? Or did they just willy-nilly say, well, we don't want to back out, give us our 200 now, give us half and then we'll call it quits?
If I may, attorney, just being consistent with what's going on, you gotta think, first of all, the money's ours because it was given to us as a non-refundable $200,000, which is money that we didn't have anyway. So essentially, we gained $100,000 if we're gonna give $100,000 back because of the breach of contract. Now, whatever happened with all the legalities or whatever with the ex-mayor having to do with the up company, that's their deal. This board didn't know about it, but for whatever reason, it got past us. And we're here now. And I knew we'll deal with it again, because I was sitting in this very seat when dealing with this situation, and I knew it'd come back and backfire on us. But I say that to say this right here. At the end of the day, the funds are not ours. Now, you're talking about $2 million with the with everything that had taken place prior to the contract even coming before us. That was money that was spent because he felt like he was gonna move forward with doing the projects or whatever it is that he was gonna do across the street, which would have been great if it was something that we would have been in agreement with, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, we're not losing because essentially we got $200,000 that wasn't ours anyway, that was non-refundable, but we only got to give $100,000 back. I think it's a win-win for the community because we gained $200,000, but we only got to get $100,000 back. That wasn't even our money anyway. So how's the town losing when it's not our money that we actually gained from taxpayers or whatever it is? You know what I'm saying? We was giving the money in good faith, and things had kind of derailed along the way, and here we are. So I think if we're being smart about this and making good educated decisions as elected officials up here, we got to make wise decisions based off of everything that we have in front of us, all the logistics, you know what I'm saying? Because if we do a 286, that consists of sitting behind a wall, it's gonna cost us money, it's gonna cost the taxpayers money to actually have an attorney. You gotta remember what he said. You gotta pay attention to everything. We're not gonna have our insurance sitting in there. This is gonna be lawyers that we're gonna actually have to hire. So if we do wanna move forward, we're doing a 286, that's gonna consist of taxpayers' money. Instead of sitting here resolving it now and say, you know what, we're at a win because, okay, we're not having to pay anything now, which is the $100,000 that we have to pay back that wasn't our money anyway. But if we go and do a 286, now you're talking about paying money. And we got to be very careful also. He got $2 million that he's asking for originally. So we got to be very careful and cautious and dotting our I's and crossing our T's and not putting the cart before the horse before making decisions based off of how we feel about something. You got to be logical about things too. And I think the logical thing to do, and like I said, I'm only one vote, but I'm also a legislator that's going to do town business. And that's what I swore to do. And I want to make sure that I'm protecting the integrity of our community, our town, and everything that comes before us. We don't want to be sued. I ask you that question every week, don't I? Every time we're having a meeting. I don't like being sued, but this is a business that we're running. You know what I'm saying? It consists of things that could occur. But I think what's in front of us now, I'm gonna be done with this. I think we need to make sure that we're doing the right thing, because nothing happened over there anyway. You know what I'm saying? And maybe we did breach the contract. This panel don't know that because a lot of people that sit up here now wasn't even on that board when some of us sat on that board. So I don't know exactly what happened, but I'm gonna say this in closing. I think we need to be consistent with what the attorney said, because there's so many different things that could play a role in us losing a lot more money than the $100,000 that's not even ours anyway. So I think we just need to be mindful. That's just my opinion.
Okay, I'll go after, well, I already spoke, I'll go after that.
Okay. If I'm hearing everything correctly, are we saying that the monies or the funds were non-refundable?
That's what he
Is
said.
that what I'm hearing?
That's correct,
Is
yes.
that correct?
Yes.
Okay, it was, let's have an understanding. It was non-refundable from who? From UP,
From up development.
from from up development, okay. So contractually, if it was non-refundable, it was non-refundable. So why are we in this case right now trying to give $100,000 on a non-refundable contract? Why is that? Somebody needs to answer that. Okay, hold on a second, all right? Then the other thing here that I have is this, to give someone $100,000 on the non-refundable contract, we're giving the taxpayers money away. We have this infrastructure in our town, broken pipes, all kinds of issues that we have out there. We don't give someone $100,000, they don't deserve it because they want to penalize the town for something that they renege on their contract. Everybody, citizens, ladies and gentlemen, we have to understand the legal problems that is being placed before us. And I think that we are headed in the wrong direction by giving $100,000 just to sell us something because someone says they want to hold us accountable for something that they don't even deserve. That's my opinion. So why, the question is, why are we selling this? What's the reason? What is the real reason? Why are we going to sell this on a non-negotiable issue concerning a contract? Can you answer that question for me?
Yes, certainly can. One, because there is a risk that there's going to be a lot more broken pipes if you have to pay out $2 million if they prevail on their claims. And I can go through the general claims and the general allegations with you. But just because that $200,000 is not refundable does not mean that they can sue, that they cannot sue for a breach of contract. And if they do prevail on those claims, we'd be looking at $2 million that the town would be paying.
Well, first of all, you all have not even given us enough information about it, about the whole thing. That's what I want to hear.
Okay.
I'm not trying to talk around it. I'm being very direct because I'm going in another direction right now.
Okay.
About this.
So let me go back and sort of explain where the case is at. Right now, it has not entered the discovery phase. So there has not been vast sums of legal expenses or legal fees incurred. If this is not settled, then that portion will move forward, and that's when the fees will really start to prove. General allegations are that UP Development had to expend $827,271 in due diligence and development costs. They also deposited the $200,000 in earnest money with the town. The crux of their argument, and this is not getting into sort of the nitty gritty, but this is in count one of their complaint as far as breach of contract, is that the town breached the purchase and sale agreement by not depositing the earnest money with the escrow agent, not supporting the resolution, not signing the Fourth Amendment to the purchase and sale agreement, directing OCPS not to support resolution 2019-9, and not signing the Ninth Amendment to the OCPS contracts, thereby contravening the will of the town council and ultimately failing to sell the property to UP Development as agreed. Now, that is what is alleged in the complaint. We have not entered the discovery phase, so we do not know what amount of evidence they have for each of those at this point, or really the weight to. I can say unequivocally that with Mr. Shepard's communications with opposing counsel, that this number, the $100,000 at this stage in the litigation, is the best deal that you're going to get at this point in the litigation. If discovery does go forward and the case does progress, that number is only going to go up. It's not going to go lower.
Is there a way to get a copy of that? Is that restricted information?
You have a copy of the complaint?
What you just read?
No, it's public record. It's in the Orange County report, and I can email a copy of that to you.
Okay, thank you.
Everything that, I'm gonna be brief, talk. Everything, the attorney just stated, is definitely true because it's documented, right? But on top of that, I can recall, like, vividly, like it was yesterday, how this actually panned out. We didn't meet our, bargain by putting things in place in a timely manner. This is what happened in a timely manner. Us as a town, as a council, didn't move forward with putting our
logistics in place to make the time frame for this particular project to take place. That's why we didn't meet the, idea of, pushing forward with, the up development, because they had everything planned. Everything was already approved without a lot of council members not even knowing the logistics and everything that was really going on with this particular, contractual contract that we had. That's why it was problematic, and I know it'll come back and bite us eventually, and it is right now, it's biting us right now. But we can sustain the bite that we're getting now by, settling, right? Because I think a lot of times, you feel like you don't want to give, nobody want to give money away, right? But this is a business that we're running. This town is a business. And we got to make sure that we're being good legislators up here and making good decisions, wise decisions, without costing the town possibly, millions of dollars. $2 million, that's a lot of money if we do lose this case. So I think we need to, just be very wise about even going into a 286. I don't want to go into a 286. I don't, Discovery has already been there. And we don't want to make sure that we're, opening up a, open wound and taking it to court, because once we do that, I'm telling you, we're playing with fire if we do that. And I don't want to be the one to give up development the $100,000. I know it was a non-refundable agreement that we agreed upon. We know that, the $200,000. But you got to think about not only the $200,000, you got to think about the $800,000+ that he spent doing the research over here to be able to build. Now, those are the problems that we're going to run into on top of all the other fees that was associated with him spending. Those are the issues that we got to worry about. Not only the $200,000, which essentially really is $100,000 that they're asking for. So I think we just need to be very careful. And I know everybody has an opinion on how they look at things, but I think if we go into a 286, it's going to cost the town money off the dribble. Off the dribble. Time we go into a 286, it's costing the taxpayers money off the dribble. Am I right or wrong, Tony?
That would be accurate.
That's all I gotta say, but I think we really need to be careful with dealing with this situation. I do not want to pay $100,000, but guess what though? I think that's the wisest thing for us to do, because if I sit here and say, you know what, I don't want to do that, and then we find ourselves on the back end paying $2 million plus the lawyer fees and everything else associated with the court fees, it's gonna hunt us. And I don't want that to happen. So me personally, me as a legislator, me as an elected official sitting up here, making the decision that I'm making, I'm definitely moving forward to approve this particular item that we have in front of us. I can't speak for everybody else, but I've got to make sure my conscience is right, and making my consent on my vote. So I think that's what we need to be wise and really think about too, guys. So that's just my opinion, and
Yes.
that's it.
Councilman Davis.
Some of your points in the lawsuit, breach of contract by the mayor, according. Can you go over some of those again? Because you saying that the mayor talked to Orange County. Is that wrong? Because he can't influence the votes, the 7 or 5 votes in Orange County. Am I correct? They have to vote their conviction as well, whether he get up and say it's them. Now you're saying that the resolution was 20-something 19.
Yes, 2019-9.
That one. Now, what was the vote on that one? We did it as a council. So I'm sorry to cut you off, but am I correct?
Yes, so that would have been voted on by the town. Well, some of the allegations are in here that the mayor did not comply with that resolution and did not support that resolution.
Now, when you say comply, I'm asking a question. Did he bring it for us to vote? Did we get a vote of 3-2 nay, or whatever? Or
so at this point, I don't know what the actual vote was. I just am going by the allegations that are in the complaint.
Right.
So I can go through some of those so you could
you don't have
know what language is in here.
Yeah, you don't have. That's why I was saying this 286 is so important, so that my conviction, my vote can be to help avoid a $2 million if we can't win. But if you're saying these are allegations and they're just taking a gamble to say, let's see what they do, then I'm saying, I'm gonna put my money on Eatonville. This is $100,000, and you're saying, are you then speculating that the mayor did this? There still was a vote on Orange County. They had to vote themselves. What was the vote here for certain resolutions? Now, did the mayor, if he didn't sign it to put it in, that's on him, and then you get into the legal. But if the board voted against it, how can you say it's the mayor's fault or it's a breach of contract? And for you to put your money to invest in this property to see if it's viable for you to put a hotel and stuff, that's on you. You saw the land, you put your honest money ahead. It's just as if you would get a car and say, let me get it checked out first before I buy. You ask the buyer, can I get it checked out first? But the the seller's not going to pay for that. You pay for that and see if it's got oil change and everything's good. And you say, okay, it's a good investment for me. So you don't get that back in the sale or when you trying to purchase it. So I can't support this, and I hope that this board will listen. And I know it's already a motion on the floor, but we need to table it so I can figure out the intricate parts of what's going on. Just can't just give $100,000 away like that. And that's all I have here.
But it's not our money.
Now,
Oh, God.
Vice Mayor.
First of all, it doesn't matter. Go to court, don't go to court. It's gonna cost money to fight this period. Over $100,000, like I said. It's not our money at the beginning. They gave us $20,000 back when, 2000 what? What's the trend? I know, 2015. We had $200,000 since 2015. We had $200,000 since 2015. Do you think we made money on that money? Anybody up here? Yes, we did. We did make money on that money. If you said anything, we made money on that money. So why not give back the $100,000 that they put down, their money down, instead of taking us to legal? Take legal, because it's gonna cost our attorneys hundreds of $1,000s just to fight. A month gonna cost $100,000 plus just to get records or evidence, switching this and switching that from the attorneys. That's what it's all about. Attorney fees is all about. It's build up, build up, build up. So I'll support $100,000 because it never was ours from the get-go. It never was our money. If we didn't make no money on that, that's something we have to deal with our financial staff. But I think it's a win. We give these people back the $100,000 and move on. That's all I have to say.
Because we can't continue to allow this to go to legal and then they're gonna drag it. Who knows how long it's gonna take for this particular case to end? And you gotta think, if it takes a month, if it takes 6 months, or even a year, you're talking about a substantial amount of money that is gonna cost. And you gotta remember also, guys, this is not the purpose of the insurance, because our insurance is not covering this. Legal City is not covering this. This is gonna be the attorneys, whether we hire our own personal attorneys or the attorneys that we have for the town. That's where the money is gonna accumulate from. And that's what we gotta be careful at. Now, I know nobody up here, nobody in the town wanna give $100,000 away. And if everybody understood exactly how this process actually was handled from the beginning, they'll have a better understanding versus sitting here trying to wonder what's going on. Like, if I sat up here, 3 of us out of the 5 sat up here while that had taken place. Now, it's a lot of things that had taken place possibly. I can't sit here and point a finger at nobody, but somebody dropped the ball along the way for us to sit here and sustain a lawsuit right now. And not even a lawsuit, it's a settlement. It's really like something that they're, okay, we already know, and I trust the attorneys, I do, you know what I'm saying? His legal advice. This is the attorney, ain't none of us up here went to school for law, I know I did. I'm trusting the attorney that we hired to do all the investigation and make his decision based off of his knowledge as law to tell us the right thing. That's why he's here. We can't even have a meeting without him. So that's why he's here for us to get the legal advice from him versus sitting here thinking that I know everything because I don't. That's why we do have legal. But I can tell you this for sure. If we sit here and think that we can just go into this 286 and think it's not gonna cost the town any money, we're fooling ourselves. And I know you, Mayor, you're sitting in that seat, and these seats are complicated to sit in. And I know we have to make a lot of tough decisions. And these are one of them. This is one of them. But I can tell you one thing, and I can't sit here and advise anybody to do whatever they don't want to do. But for me, I'm in hopes of approving this right here. That way they can just go away. I know we want to sit here and say the $100,000, but if we don't do that, essentially it's gonna cost us a whole lot more money. We talking about $2 million that they got on the table that they originally want to sue us for. The $200,000 is gonna be added onto the $2 million. And you gotta think, right? You gotta think. I know if someone's telling me they're gonna sue me, and I know I probably got some wrongdoing, and what I did, I'm gonna think twice. I'm like, you know what, man? What you gonna settle with? Okay, let's settle, man. Why ain't you gotta go drag this through court? Don't let me tell you I told you so. And we'll sit right in the same area, rather 6 months away from here, a month or whatever, and it would be like I told you so. I'm done with it. I'm done with it. So we can. I'm gonna vote my conviction. Everybody else gonna vote their conviction on how they feel about it. But I'm definitely moving to approve this particular item right here.
Councilman Dan.
Yes, last question, attorney. I fell asleep in my law class, but discovery, what does that mean?
So discovery is when you would request to the other side. So it'd be interrogatories, that would be requests for documents. So typically for something like this, the town would get a request for any and all documents related to this project, related to any town meetings from that time on, and regarding anything that would have to do with up development. What that would also entail would be depositions of anybody who was involved in the agreements or on council at the time. And that would go from both sides. So
Next, Councilman.
Okay, in looking at these, agreement, the mutual release, since this is a case regarding litigation, the attorney should sign this form.
So the attorney will not be signing this form because it is between the town and up development. So those are the parties that are the only parties to this release. Our law firm or the actual attorney would not be a part of this release. Essentially, our role is to look it over, make sure it's legally sufficient and in the best interest of the town. That is why the attorney signed.
Did you all prepare this form?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Just asking a question. All right, thank you.
I think we're so inconsistent. We had a developer agreement that was maybe 6 pages. We waived over $300-something thousand of money we did not have. And that sailed through. Then we had another contract that it was a breach of contract in our favor, and we still gave $200,000 that we didn't have. Now we're having a decision, okay, we have $200,000 that was given. And now in order to avoid costly fees or possibly a lawsuit, we don't know how it's gonna end, that we just give them 50%. They get 50, we get 50. And we've lost nothing. This is easy, and we'll be done with it. It's done. This was easy. We'll forever lose out on 300,000 plus fees that we waived. We'll forever lose out on $200,000 that we just gave away, even though they breached their contract with us. But yet we want to stall this and not do it. I mean, so it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed.
Nay.
Reports. Mr. Presley, do you have a report?
On behalf of Mr. Presley, he does not have a report tonight, but he will send over the report e-file with updates from the administration.
All right, thank you.
And no report from the clerk.
Thank you. 29.
No, Mayor, other than there are no additional lawsuits that have been filed against the town.
You know what's coming.
Town council reports. We'll start with Councilwoman Randolph.
Okay.
Then let me go ahead and start with
You go
Councilman, Matt.
Okay, I'll be real brief. First of all, thank everybody for coming out, being engaged in town business. I know it's very important that we come out here and exactly engage in what's going on in the community. Like the young man stated up here before, there's so much involved, just, showing up. You gotta be a participant also, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people that live in this community don't know what's going on in town business. Trust me. And I try to, tell people and educate them as much as I can. every first and third Tuesday. 6:30 workshop, 7:30 the actual meeting. And if you're interested in coming to CRA, that's gonna be on I think we changed the time on that, but that's gonna be on this coming Thursday at 6:30. So I encourage anybody that's wanna get involved with town business, please come out, please. Encourage people that do live in the community that you see on a daily basis to come out as well, if they wanna be engaged in knowing what's going on actually in the town, especially when it comes to the taxpayers' money. Okay? But I also say it was a great event this past weekend doing the Zoro Nail. I'm sorry, doing the Martin Luther King parade. Just the whole culture of it, and it was lengthy. That's what I enjoyed. I've got so much feedback from so many people saying how enjoyable the parade was. I normally don't get that consistency. People be like, "Man, that was horrible." I've gotten that a few times, and it feels great, especially sitting up here as a leader that hear stuff like that, because that's an actual town event. I know the one that we're having next week. We're part of that too, but it's not an actual town event, man. So to get that feedback from people that don't even live in the town of Eatonville, but the one that especially live in the town of Eatonville is great. So I definitely look forward to the next one. Then I also look forward to the Zora Neale Hurston event that's going to be taking place the 31st of January through the 2nd of February. I encourage everybody to come out, be a part of that too. It's a great festival, especially with the Zora Neale. She's kind of, the one that kind of paved the foundation in terms of just the real rich culture that we do have in the community of Eatonville, man. Being the oldest Black municipality in America, founded by 27 great men that had a dream and that had an idea to, do something great. And we're still here. Eatonville been around 137 years. 137 years. We cannot sell our souls to the devil. We can't. We got to make sure that we're consistent in doing things that's going to be for the betterment of our community and not just for ourselves. We got to put ourselves aside because it's bigger than us. Like I tell people all the time, especially young people, you don't have to you don't have to move out of Eatonville to better yourself. Everybody up here done did some things that's done been inspirational, whether you went to college, came back, and you're being a part of something that's bigger than you. I just had the opportunity to take my son to college on a Ford scholarship and playing football. You know how great that feels? He's going to come back and he's going to pour into his community. Because I'm telling you, man, the teaching starts at home. It's very important, man. It's so important. I can't even stress how important it is, man. But I encourage you, anybody that's not involved, to get involved, please. And also congratulations to all the officers that was recognized tonight and everybody else within the town with businesses. I can't think of all of them. The bagel, the young man that was in here that actually give his property to chief and his law enforcement to do all the things that they need to do to make sure that they're getting proper training. Normally you have to go to other facilities and do that, but for them to for that couple to be that big of a help to us, that's helping us as a community, especially law enforcement. So chief, salute to you, man, for the job that you do on a daily basis, man. You know what I'm saying? And I commend you for everything that you do. And your officers, man, they're so professional. They do their job. They do it professional, and I really appreciate that. A lot of people can't say that, but they do serve and protect our community, and this is a safe community. And I thank you for that. And you and your officers. Also, just thanks for everybody that came out and had an opportunity to speak and voice your opinion. I know a lot of people don't tend to get up and voice their opinion, and they do it outside of the town. But I advise you to get up there on that mic where everything's recorded and express everything that you want to express to us while we can know what's going on with you guys. Cause a lot of times we don't know. A closed mouth don't get fed, right? The only way that you can get involved is speaking your truth right here at that panel. So I salute everybody that had an opportunity to get up there. And you did a sensational job, young man, getting up there and expressing, how you feel. I felt that. It was heartfelt. You know what I'm saying? So I recommend you continue doing it. Spread the wealth, man. Bring more people to the meetings, So and also in closing, I definitely agree with Ms. Thomas about the dog leash. And it broke my heart because I got kids to see that baby lose his life to a dog that wasn't on the leash. And if we don't have a leash, We need to do it ASAP. That's something that we need to do ASAP. We're lawmakers also. We can make it happen. And if we don't have it in place, let's go by Orange County, let's pick back on theirs. This is very important stuff right here. You know what I'm saying? This was a very detrimental thing that happened to that kid. We got kids. Can you imagine a dog killing your baby right in front of you and ain't nothing you can do? That's disheartening, man. All because a dog was out without a leash. We definitely need to move forward with making sure that we have a dog leash ordinance put in place ASAP, not next week, ASAP. So that's my recommendation, and I appreciate everybody for coming out, and that's my report. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. This deal, this lawsuit, I don't, it's just something's just not right about it, and I don't agree with it. The Up Development gave us 200,000, and I do agree with the mayor. We're so inconsistent because Up gave us 200,000. We pledged to give 200,000 to Osdom over here, a business that's going to come and bring revenue. It's going to generate revenue for our town, but we fight against them. Something that's established over there that's going to bring revenue to the town, but we fight against them about breaching contract and the 200,000. To me, a win-win would be to take the up 200,000 and bless a business that's going to be here and get them the 200,000 that we pledged to them. To me, that's business. That's how we help each other out. But this agreement, I didn't agree with it in some minute that it's just not right for me. But we're going to move forward. I want to thank the clerk. The clerk, guys, is awesome. And if you know anything about Eatonville's, yes, you deserve it. If you know anything about Eatonville's politics, you know we have a high turnover rate. If this board gets rid of this young lady, it would be a travesty. It would be detrimental to our town. This young lady, I put it just at the we've been having a lot of funerals. So we had a family that gave me the charge to give them a resolution. The family was, going through, so I didn't want to bother them. So the young lady sent me a resolution. I sent it to her. It was the back of the program. It wasn't the inside to say about the person that passed. This young lady took her time, went, looked online, put something together. And when they read it, as though that she had the obituary right there. She filled everything out. This is a jewel to the town. And whenever she feels like she's done is when she should leave, because she'd be an asset to any administration. And I'm glad to have you here. And Ms. King, I give you flowers now. I thank you for an awesome job that you are doing and continuing to do. I thank you. I want to say the parade, the crowd was great. I haven't seen a large crowd like that in a long time. I've always taken it upon myself to buy extra candy because just like Councilman Mack would say, you get ridiculed when you run out of candy. And this year, again, I didn't because I came prepared. And I love the crowds. I didn't get an opportunity to go and look at the field, but I saw it was packed. I had a couple of friends that I saw. I didn't get over and patronize them, but it looked to be a great time. Is anything perfect? No. I would like to get with Ms. Bradshaw, and it was some things that stood out that I would like to give her as far as constructive criticism. Robinson, I'm sorry, Ms. Robinson, to help her, and maybe we can, make this thing even better. Condolences go out if you can. Like I said before, we've been having a lot of death in the town of Eatonville. If you can pray for the Belafon and Webb family, Shonda, Zion and Kai, they lost their father. And this young man he's my neighbor, but he's so instrumental that everyone knew this guy. He lost his leg in a motorcycle accident, but you couldn't tell it. He's climbing trees, he's doing plumbing, he was really a handyman. And it's truly a loss to the community of Eatonville. Ms. King, I will be getting with you and making sure that you get the proper obituary so we can do a proper resolution for Mr. Tony Belafon. And I want to thank everybody for coming out and continue to come. And have a great Eatonville. All right, good night.
Okay, thank you. Okay, my report. First of all, I'd like to give appreciation and thanks to the staff for the MLK celebration. Public Works did a fantastic job. I mean, when I rolled through here on Monday and Tuesday, they had everything kind of squeaky clean. They did a terrific job. And I like the concept of picking up the trash and the waste at the tail end of the parade. That was a win-win for me. Like I said, the participants were great. Everyone did a great job. I want to appreciate the staff for outstanding for what they did. A couple of issues was brought to my attention, which I did drive through the neighborhood, Kelly in the park. It seems like it's just, we have an influx of a lot of cars in the yards, on the street, trailers and those types of things, and that we really need to be taken a look at. If there's any violation of the codes, we need to make sure that we take care of that and do whatever is needed. The leash law with the pit bulls, I would applaud the town to come forward to do a leash law ordinance, which is very important. I was very sorry about the young 8-year-old kid that lost his life. That was a very bad tragedy. I do have another concern about, I know we have the upcoming Zora Festival. I want to ask a question whether or not the council, maybe it was on one day that was not here, did the council appropriately approve everything concerning Zora? I did not get had a report. I wanted to ask about any contracts, fees, and all those things. Have they been satisfied yet from the PEC organization?
If you just send an email to Mr. Presley, anything that's outstanding, and get that information to you.
Okay, now I need to come to the council vote for the Zorro event taking place. We know that we do it every year, but did it come before council?
Yeah.
Y'all saying that didn't come before council?
When did?
And she changed the date from the 27th to the 20th. Y'all know the conversation?
Yeah, about a month ago.
It did come before council.
Did it come before council?
Okay.
Okay.
Because they can't do it without it. So I had to come through.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you a question. All right. All right, other than that, thank you all very much. It's very nice to see everyone, and y'all have a wonderful day and stay well. Thank you.
On the note about the vehicles, Mr. Baruti sent an email out this morning and has already put out the patrol for a ticket.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Chief.
The headline read, massive MLK parade in the town of Eatonville. It was massive, people. It was one of the best parades ever in town of Eatonville. I've been a part of it for years. I was in it when I was a youth, and it was definitely something to remember. And they thanked the committee. Everybody had their hands-on involved in it. They did a wonderful job. I did get some beep about barricades that we need more of, keeping kids out the streets. And we do need to do a candy throw out instead of throwing individual pieces of candy out. Then kids run out there and they get little pieces out there, put them in bags or something. I think it go better, but that's something we need to talk about next year. Having people that throw out candy, make it in their bag or something.
So you gotta get your little committee and bag all that candy up.
Oh, I do have a committee that bag my candy up. I sure do. Have some elves. So yeah, I definitely does. But thank you everybody for coming out. Nice seeing some people here tonight. Good night.
Yes, Miss Monday, you.
I'm very excited tonight because I want to thank council for moving everything forward with the Florida DEP SRF, and that means revolving funding, state revolving funding, for the amount of $34 million to allow us to totally rehabilitate our water and sewer system. And this is a major milestone for the town. So I want to thank council for moving us forward. We are now prepared to execute the agreement. In conjunction with that, state did require that we bring along an engineering program management firm, and that is what you all have also moved forward, because we could not move this without having a firm in place to execute this. And we have selected the firm of GCI, who is here. They are the engineering program management firm. They not only are doing our work, they have also done the same type of work for Orlando Airport and for the Orange County School Board. So we're very proud to have them in our presence. Will you all stand, the GCI representatives? They will be doing the day-to-day engineering and management of the entire engineering and construction contract. So just wanted to alert everyone to, this is a major milestone. We want to thank everyone, council and mayor, for moving us forward.
Thank you.
Thank
Just close out this Monday. I can't tell you how grateful I am for the work that you've been doing, not just with this grant, but several grants. So I'm very appreciative of that. The parade coordinators, everyone, all the staff that was involved in that parade, thank you, especially Miss Jonita Robinson. Condolences to all the bereaved families. And one more thing, and I said I'm gonna keep saying this, just like some people keep saying what they have to say. I'm gonna keep saying this. If we had impact fees in place a while ago, then that 200,000 wouldn't be an issue, but we didn't have impact fees. So when someone builds a $30+ million business, they didn't have to pay impact fees. That's a lot of money they saved.
Yeah.
So $200,000 extra being given, they didn't need our money. But to share some money that was given to us, that's totally different. Two different apples and oranges. But with that, everybody drive carefully, stay warm, and I move for adjournment. Everyone move to second, and all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed. It's 9:19, you are adjourned. Good night.
Thank you.